So worksheet 50, we're going to go right to number 2. Let's go ahead and get our pre-image coordinates laid out here, F, G, and H. F is at -1, -1. G is at -1, +1. And H is at +2, 0. Right? So if we're dilating by a scale factor of 2, what are we going to do with that 2? We're going to multiply, right? What numbers are we going to multiply by 2? All of them, exactly. F prime, G prime, H prime. All we do is take all 6 of these numbers, and we kind of, we can think of it like we take all of them, and we multiply them all by 2. We're making our triangle twice as large. So we should see an inflated triangle once we graph this. F prime times 2 would give us -2, -2. G prime would give us -2, +2. And H prime would give us 4, 0. We go ahead and plot those. -2, -2. F prime, -2, +2. G prime, and +4, 0. H prime. Now something that someone pointed out yesterday was, hey, my H, point H, and point H prime, those are 2 spaces apart, and my dilation scale factor was 2, so I can probably just count 1, 2, and make my point like that. We cannot do that. It only works sometimes, and it's just pure coincidence that it works like this, all right? Please do not try and do what we do with translations with the bumps on the graph when we're doing a dilation. You need to multiply all of them out and then graph those points. So for dilations, it's like we only have a rule. We don't have a nice little graph bumping like translations, or counting to the line like reflections, or using our slide like rotations. Dilations, you need to use the rule if you want to get it right, obviously. So there's our new triangle. We'll see that FGH is completely engulfed in that triangle, in that larger triangle. But we're not always going to have this. And some of you who got some work done on this last night probably saw that it's not always going to be completely inside the larger triangle like that. It all depends on where the triangle's at on the graph. What I mean by that is, if your pre-image triangle encloses the origin, like in number 2, and right here in number 1, if your triangle surrounds that origin completely, you're going to see the larger triangle completely surrounding the smaller triangle. Do you guys kind of see what I mean by that? Yeah. Whereas down here on 3 and 4, our origin is not completely engulfed by our pre-image triangle. In number 3, it's just outside of the triangle. And in number 4, our triangle passes through the origin directly. So we're going to see a little bit different of a dilation here because our triangle's not directly over the origin. And remember, we're always dilating about the origin. So that's why you'll see that. So if you have a triangle that completely engulfs the origin, you're going to see that prime triangle come out around it. But let's take a look at what happens on number 3 when we dilate again by a scale factor of 2. L is at -1, 2. So L prime is going to be at -2, 4, right? We just multiplied both those numbers by 2 because that's the number given to us. Point K is at -1, -1. So K prime will be at -2, -2. -2, -2. There's K prime. L prime was up here. And M is at what? 1, 2. So M prime will be at 2, 4. I'll zoom out a little bit. Yeah, Noah.
You put down on 3 spaces instead of 2 for R.
R prime?
K. That's R and K.
Ah, you're right. Or yeah, K. That's right. Yeah. Let me fix that. Thank you for catching that. Should be right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's gonna make more sense. Andy, can you head back to your seat? Thank you, Les. So let's see what happens when we connect these lines together. We got those two, these two, and now when we connect K prime to M prime, we see that our larger triangle is not completely surrounding our pre-image triangle. In fact, our pre-image triangle is just outside, or at least this hypotenuse here, this long side, is just outside of our prime triangle, just like our pre-image triangle was just outside of the origin. I'm not feeling great today, so I apologize if my explanations are a little bit more confusing. I'm trying, but yeah, hopefully that makes a little bit of sense, okay? And we're going to see the same kind of thing happen here on number 4. Now we're dilating by a scale factor of 4. D, E, F, let's see where we're at. D is at 0, negative 1. D prime will be at 0, negative 4. All right, we're just multiplying. Again, if you know how to multiply, you should be great at this. E is at 0, 1, so E prime will be at 0, 4. And F is at 1, 1. F prime is at 4, 4. Right up there. So we connect all those lines up. Boom. Boom, boom. And we can see that our new triangle, our image, is significantly larger, in fact 4 times larger than our pre-image triangle. But because ED here crossed right through the origin, our E prime D prime also crossed right through the origin. I'm trying to think of an analogy besides the eyes that we talked about yesterday, but I can't think. Any questions on the front side of this worksheet, real quick? I really wanted to highlight the difference between the triangle being completely surrounding our original triangle versus when we don't have a situation like that, where the triangles don't completely engulf one another. All right, to the back, I just want to go over one of these. Which one do I want to go over? I think it was 5, right? 5's a little tricky. Jordan, did you say there was another one you wanted to go over?
8.
8? Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do the little fractional ones. Those are probably harder. So what do we got here? WXY. WXY. So W is at -2, -2. X is at 0, 2. And Y is at 3, -1. What's our scale factor here? 1/2, right? It's always going to be given to you. So that means that we're just going to cut each of these numbers in half. W prime will be at -1, -1. Right there. W prime. X prime is going to be at 0, 1. There's X prime. We just cut 2 in half and got 1. Or we multiplied 2 by 1/2 and got 1. Now Y prime is where it gets tricky, because what's half of 3? 1.5, right? Or 1.5. I'm just going to write it as a decimal, 1.5. And what's half of -1? -0.5. That's right. So Y prime is going to be a little bit harder for us to graph, but we can still graph it. And here's how we're going to do that. We're going to go over 1.5. Where's my pen? There it is. We're going to go over 1.5, and then we're going to go down 0.5. So if we start at the origin, there's 1, there's 2, so 1.5 must be right in between. Just cut it in half. Here's going down 1, so if we're just going down 1/2, we'll only go down half that distance. Our point ends up right there in the center of that square, and we can label it Y prime. Thank you. You're not going to have that type of problem on the test next week, so don't worry about that. But just so you know, that's how we would do that. If you ever have to graph like a half coordinate, like 1.5 or 1/2, 3.5, just go in between the lines, right? You can make your own little adjustments there in that way. Let's get a ruler and connect these dots up. And take a look. With our pre-image triangle, again, the origin was completely engulfed by that pre-image triangle. Therefore, our image triangle is also going to be completely surrounding our origin. Any questions here on number 5? Go ahead and check your work. Make any adjustments that you may need to make. And now we go down to number 8. So we got, what is this? QRS. QRS. Q is at -2, -2. R is at -2, +2. And S is at +2, -2. That's confusing. Lots of 2's there. And we're going to dilate this by 2.5. So, what's 2 times 2.5? 5, right? What's 2 times 2, everybody? 4. What's half of 2? 1. 4 plus 1 gives us 5. And since they're all 2's, they're all going to be 5's. Just make sure your negatives and positives are corresponding in the right way. Just like that. Eventually here we're going to have a lesson about like adding and multiplying in our head, because that's not something that really gets taught in math classes super often, but that's something that, I mean, students always ask, when are we ever going to use this, right? Being able to multiply something like, I don't know, like 76 times 8, being able to multiply that in your head is a super, super useful skill to have. So don't worry, we'll learn how to do that here soon. Maybe next week, since it's a weird week with shadow day and all that. Anyway, let's graph this triangle. -5, -5, there's Q prime. -5, +5, there's R prime. +5, -5, there's S prime. So this triangle got a lot bigger. In fact, it takes up exactly half of our entire graph once we connect those points up. Just like that. So we got 2.5 times bigger. And again, RS, our original line here, or this original side of the triangle, cuts right through the origin. So our image line there also cuts right through the origin. Okay? Any questions on number 8 or anything else on this worksheet before we get started here? Quick show of thumbs, how are we feeling about dilations now that we talked about it a little bit? Maybe a little better understanding, hopefully. If you didn't get numbers 6, 7, 9, and 10 done, and well, we did one yesterday. So if you didn't get 6, 7, 9, and 10, you do have time. We have 50 minutes left. We're going to take our quiz real quick. Yeah, it's on Chromebook, multiple choice, all that good stuff, okay? We'll take our quiz really quick. I don't think it'll take super long, maybe 20 minutes max.
Can we work with apartments?
Absolutely. Not on the quiz, but
No.
yeah. On this, and then we're going to get 51. We'll take care of that after the quiz. So, hold on to this worksheet for now. If you're done with it, I'll get it at the end of class. But for now, let's go ahead and get our Chromebooks out and get signed on to Google Classroom.